Hey everyone, hope you're all having a great day today and welcome back to the channel. This is the second episode of a multi-part series where I do my best to carve a lighthouse out of this old piece of bark. Hope you all have tuned in for the first video. If not, you may want to check it out as I make a few mistakes that some of you guys might want to avoid in some of your own projects. For this episode, I'm trying to establish the main body of the lighthouse. I will spend most of the time working with the flex cut knife to knock this old rough bark off. If you recall from the previous video, the outer bark is extremely rough and is really hard on a knife blade, so I usually leave my finer knives up for this stage. This video will be a bit shorter than the last video as I'm trying to get as much of the general shape down as I can. As you probably noticed, there's still a ton of really hard bark that I'm trying to carve through, so progress is going pretty slow. Anytime you see me using a lot of the smaller, shorter strokes whenever I'm cutting, that's usually because the bark is just so hard. Now we're moving into a stage where we're starting to get in some of the easier carving. That's why you can see me taking big, huge chunks out all at one time. Again, I'm trying to wear all my safety gear, following our little mishap in the first episode, trying to keep blood off of this one. Now I've switched back over to this other hard side. You can see the darker color of this wood. It's much more hard than the other side is. That's why I'm taking these old short strokes, doing my best to try and find a way to eat through this tough part. And then here in just a second I have a small dog emergency. One of our little dogs gets sick, so I have to step away. And just like that, we're back. So now what I'm going to be working on is trying to establish the bottom of the light and where it's going to fall. And as I'm doing that, I'm sort of creating the curvature around the top side of the main lighthouse here. So what I'm doing is I'm just making sort of short strokes and then cutting down into the wood, trying to create sort of a stop cut, and then cutting up into that stop cut. That's so I don't go too far or too deep into that top part of the lighthouse. Of course, with cottonwood it's a little bit difficult since it's so brittle. Sometimes you just take more than what you anticipate, so you got to be really careful whenever you're doing this. You don't want to just gouge and gouge. Sorry about kind of going off camera here a little bit. Sometimes I get carried away and I sort of ignore where the camera's at. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. If you've got some ideas about things I can change or do different, please leave me a comment and I'll try and incorporate what I can. I want you guys to learn as much as I am from these little videos and carvings that I'm making. This is my wife stepping in and telling me that I need to do some things differently. I'm always open to criticism, so even when it's from her, of course. So now she had the bright idea that since I keep carving off screen that I need to let her man the camera here. So now we get to watch a wobbly mess here as we try and finish off all the outer parts of the bark. The biggest struggle that I'm realizing as we go into this phase is that this piece is not exactly straight, so we're going to have to address that in a later episode. But as for now, that's going to wrap it up for what we've got in episode 2. Please give me a like, give me a subscribe. If you like what you see, come back and we'll try and figure this thing out together. Hope to see you again.